Hello, chess fans, and welcome to the basement of the world-famous St. Louis Chess Club for a very special event. This is Blitz Bounty Live, here for the first time on the YouTube channel. Tonight, we have a very special event, TD'd by the one and only Mike Comer, of course, who will be joined with in just a bit. But this is all about Dennis LaRue and a little bit about redemption. My name is Ben Simon, and my co-host tonight is the world-famous Grandmaster Pepe Cuenca. Pepe, this is going to be a really fun event tonight.
Exactly. We are going to see an extremely exciting match. It's a 4-games match, 5 minutes per player, no delay, no increment, and the one reaching 2.5 point will win. And if they tie, we'll see an exciting Armageddon. So.
It is best of 4, which is a departure from the earlier Blitz bounties that Mike Comer played against the small children. Dennis, this was your idea.
Yes.
Usually in a Blitz bounty, when the challenger just clinches one victory, the match is over. You say we're going to do a best of 4. What's the reasoning behind this?
I want to give the viewers something enjoyable to watch, Ben. And I probably just have poor decision-making skills in general.
Now, I know that you were talking with Caleb Denby, and Caleb encouraged you to get your mojo back against Jacob Sanders here today, and I know that's what you intend to do.
That's right. I'm going to crush him.
But there's a lot on the line. What are you putting up for your bounty if he beats you today?
Well, I don't make the big bucks like Mike Comer, Ben. So all I'm going to offer, it's still a lot though, is in cash the total that you would win from one of our Friday action quads. And then just to spice it up a bit, instead of just being 36, $40 are on the line, but the last $4 were spent on a Powerball ticket.
Well, that could be worth millions.
322 million.
My goodness. Now remember, this is not gambling. This is simply a bounty. Because if Dennis wins, well, it's just all about pride. He retains his Friday Action Quad winnings, or the equivalent, and the Powerball ticket, which could be worth up to $300 million.
Lot on the line, Ben.
A lot on the line. Well, if Jacob wins, he gets the prize. This is going to be a lot of fun, and we hope you stay with us for about the next hour as Pepe and I call the action from inside the studio, but we got to get there first. Let's get this started.
And welcome to a very special beginner breakdown. It's Bounty Edition today.
I'm going to keep attacking you.
Yeah, good. That's the only way you're gonna win.
Hey, are you keep getting you some time?
yeah. Get the bounty. But nice try.
Oh, hey, Dennis.
Hey, Caleb.
What's going on, man?
I've been feeling kind of down lately. What's the real meaning of it all? Why do we even play chess when it's just hours and hours of mental torture masquerading as a board game? I've been playing chess for years. I just hit my floor in classical.
Wow.
I think I'm getting worse at blitz chess. I just can't improve at all. Why should I even go on?
Dennis, I know just what you need.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Challenge a small child to a blitz match. Give him the chance to win some money, and then crush his dreams.
What a wonderful idea.
Dennis LaRue, which hand would you like to pick? Would you like the white hand or the left hand?
I'll take the right hand.
And you get the white pieces. USCF rules are in effect. Let's get this thing started, Jacob.
Good luck, sir.
Good luck.
Well, we are off to the races. Welcome, everybody, to Game 1 of 4 in this Blitz Bounty event. Very suspicious drawing of the lots there by the one and only Mike Comer. But, as you can see, there's white pieces. Pepe, what are you making so far in this game?
Well, they're playing the London system here with Bishop F4, E3. Denise is playing pretty solid opening here with the white pieces. But I saw they started the game without pressing the clocks even. So.
Oh.
But now, Queen C1. Okay. The pawn on b2 was attacked. Now he had to defend it. Bishop g4 and knight b to d2, protecting the f3 knight. e6, bishop e2, developing the pieces, knight b to d7 and c3.
Dennis has this confounded look on his face. I don't know what this means.
It looks so serious, yeah? h3, attacking this bishop. He's got to go back to f5 or h5. Let's see what he does. Taking on f3, white would get the bishop pair, so bishop f5. Now g4 comes to my mind too. But no, instead he goes for castle. And I guess black is gonna do the same.
You know, I'm surprised because the tradition of Blitz Bounty, as you saw in that opening video, is getting your mojo back or teaching a small child a lesson. This is not the case here. We have Dennis LaRue, who the fans of our YouTube channel know for a very long time, the 37-year-old originally from the LA area, or whatever small town in LA, and he came here years ago as a member and then transitioned into a chess instructor and a YouTube personality himself. His opponent, Jacob Sanders, 15 years old from Tulsa, Oklahoma, is, Dennis's foil. I don't know. I think Jacob may have tricked Dennis into this match because Jacob's actually higher rated than Dennis. This is not some kind of phony exhibition, I'm going to blow you out of the water. This is maybe Dennis walking into a trap of a match.
And as you can see, he just blundered an exchange. He touched the rook on a1 and he had to move it to b1 and the bishop on f5 just took that rook. So Jacob has a great advantage already out of the opening.
Arbiter Mike Comer taking a very close look at this match. Not letting anything slip by him. Now I want to let you know that these players are encouraged to trash talk to some extent. I mean, we have a microphone right next to the board, and I thought this might happen. At least the first game. A feeling out process. Getting to know the other player. Because what worse could happen than talking trash, talking a big game, and then dropping the first stanza because of it,
Exactly. But they seem so quiet, yeah? So they're really focused. The pride is on stake. And knight e8 now. I think Dennis could push the e pawn now, going for e4, trying to open the position, and he goes for that. e4, trying to create some sort of attack. D takes e4, and knight takes e4. So let's see now. Knight f6. Of course, black would love to exchange a lot of pieces since he's material up. So black is happy exchanging those knights. And we see that Dennis has 30 more seconds on the clock. Remember, no increment, no delay.
Yeah, I was really surprised whenever they mentioned this was no increment, no delay. I've never been a fan of that kind of blitz myself. I think it's way too brutal. And fights break out all over the board all the time because it just gets into a mad time scramble at the end.
Exactly. And then you start playing dirty, and we don't want that.
Stomping toes under the tables.
Yeah, exactly. So knight d5 attacking the bishop on f4. Now the c3 pawn is very weak. So f5 was a really interesting move, and knight f6 now. He's got to protect the c3 knight, so now he can't avoid the trade of the knights. If he goes back to d2, knight takes c3, just wins a pawn for black. So probably he's got to take on f6, or maybe something like queen c2 to protect this little guy on c3. Yes, and he goes for that. Now this bishop on h2 could be a dangerous piece for black, sorry.
Would you give Dennis the advantage at this point?
No. Here's an exchange down, so black has a better position, but it's not that easy, right? Because then he has the bishop pair, and also he could start pushing the c4 pawn, gaining more space in the position, and it's not easy. So knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, and knight f6, intending to take that bishop. So Dennis shouldn't allow that, and he should go back to d3. This is what he does, and now black could break with the c5 pawn. So c6 to c5, opening the c5 for the rook, but instead he goes rook f to d8. And now knight a5, c5 still, it's a good move, I guess. For example, white could try to go something like queen e2 and then sacrifice the knight on f7, followed by queen e6 and bishop g6. That looks pretty interesting. But knight d7, only 2 minutes, 1 minute 52 seconds for Jacob. So queen e2, and as you can see now, you can try to put the queen on e4 as well in order to go queen h7. So now queen e4 is really interesting move. He's trying to get to h7.
Is he gonna see it? Is he gonna see it?
Let's see. Because g6 could run into knight takes to g6. Beautiful sacrifice by Dennis LaRue. And the queens come to g6 later, and there could be a lot of trouble for Jacob. Only 1 minute and 25 seconds in the clock. A minute down. So knight f8 covering the h7 square. And for example, something like knight c4 or even knight g4 trying to ruin black pawn structure could be really, really interesting. At this point, knight g4. And I would say Dennis is the favorite now. Because of the time, because the position looks really dangerous for black, even though he's an exchange up. Knight g6. Now knight takes f6, followed by h4, could be interesting, but black could reply with f5. I'm not so sure. Knight takes f6, g takes. And now black could play f5.
Pepe, pardon me. I'm gonna see if I can get a closer look at this board.
All right. h4. Dennis is trying to open the position, but now black can reply with f5, and probably the h4 pawn could fall in that position. So f5, the thing is you can't go to f4 to protect the h4 pawn. So you're gonna go to e2, e3, and then knight takes h4. Looks really interesting. Less than a minute for Jacob. 1 minute 35 seconds for Dennis. Queen f3. Black can't take on h4 because after queen g3 you can just retreat your knight to g6. And black's better. Still the position looks pretty complicated. Only 44 seconds for Jacob. But this time he's not taking it. It goes for c5, but now h5 could be interesting. h5 followed by bishop e5 followed by queen g3. And looks like black could even be much worse now. What happens here? Knight e7, bishop e5 just threatens queen to g3. He goes for queen g3 straight away. I don't like that move because now the bishop on h2 is doing basically nothing. Queen f8. And now you could try maybe to go queen f4, something like that to capture the h6 pawn. Just 27 seconds for Jacob. Let's see what happens. Queen e5. He's shaking. Dennis is shaking. Pretty nervous. Queen e5. But now c takes d4. Looks interesting because after king h8 there is knight g8 and nothing happens. Instead he wants to run to e8. And I don't know what's going on here. Looks pretty complicated. Only 20 seconds. Queen h8, king d7. The king dancing tango in the center of the board. And now he's going to take that pawn on h6. He's going to take that pawn on h6. Rook h8. Trying to capture that queen. It's not going to happen. Queen g5, probably rook g8. So probably black's taking the pawn on h5. The problem he's got only 18 seconds in the clock. Dennis is shaking. Queen g5, rook g8. He's going to go back. 30 seconds. He's threatening checkmate on g2. Let's see if Dennis sees it.
Oh
my God.
Dennis does not handle time pressure well. I know this.
g3, knight d5. And now queen e5, 14 seconds. Queen d6. Take that queen. King takes. Rook e2, king d7. And now the crazy thing comes. Bishop e5 check. King d6. g4 is very interesting there. Like opening this diagonal for the king. 6 seconds for Dennis. Bishop takes e3. Rook e1. 8 seconds. Rook e5. King c6. Take that pawn, Dennis. 1 second. Rook takes e3. G takes and boom. Black won the game.
Wow, Jacob Sanders up 1-0 to start the match in a big way, and you can tell that Dennis is very upset. They're going to switch sides, switch colors for game number 2.
Yeah, it was a very exciting game, man. Like, Dennis blundered an exchange in move number 15 or something, but then he was attacking a lot. And then he managed to get a great position, but then suffered in the time trouble.
You know, this is not as big of a, this is not a high of a rating, I should say, as when Cummer played the National Master during one of his Blitz bounties. I think Dennis is getting some water or something. No, I think he just needed a break. Anyway,
All right.
remember, guys,
We're ready. Good start.
this
Ready.
is
Let's go.
a USCF Blitz rated event, and it is going to be heated. Here is game 2. Remember, if Jacob wins this, he will start the match 2-0, which means that to win, to retain his money, to retain his Powerball, Dennis will have to win games 3 and 4 and the Armageddon, which would be 4s.
Yes, and we are in a Queen's Gambit decline, where White has just played Bishop E2 in order to go short castle here. Then probably the Rook is going to come to C1, and then it goes C5. C takes C5. Probably now Knight takes C5 is the best move. And this is what Dennis does. Bishop takes C7, Knight takes C7. This is a pretty solid position for Black now. And short castle. The thing is, if Black takes on D4, probably you're going to take with the Knight. Because if you take with the pawn, this looks like a good isolating pawn structure position for White. So that's why he took with the Knight and Knight S6. And at some point, White will probably try to use the C and D files for the rooks. The problem for Black in this position is that C8 bishop, as you can see. And for example, the White bishop could land on F3 to put some pressure on B7. So what do you think, Ben? Who's going to win this game?
I like White right now. I like Jacob. I like his position.
Yeah.
It feels more comfortable to me.
Yeah, the bishop on F3 is doing a fantastic job, and it's never easy to play B6 in these positions because C6 could be weak, and he goes Queen E2, now intending to go Rook F to D1 and Rook A to C1, and Black's Queen hasn't got too many squares. Mostly if you go B6 after Rook F D1, the Queen is not so well placed. Now maybe B6 is the best square. You go to C7, then that could run into some Knight to B5 attacking the Queen. Queen to B6, better square, but also you could try Knight A4 at some point. Or even just taking on C6, and White pawn structure is a little bit better. Let's say Knight C6, B takes C6, and then B3 in order to go Rook A C1, Knight A4, and Knight C5. So 3 minutes 50 for Jacob, 4:59 for Dennis.
And for those of you just joining us, Ben Simon here, joined along with Grandmaster Pepe Cuenca. This is live. Yes, for real. You aren't dreaming. This is Blitz Bounty Live for the first time ever. Dennis LaRue, with his $36 and Powerball ticket on the line, is taking on his foil, Jacob Sanders. Now, if you're wondering the history between these two, it's a little complicated. I thought it was a teacher-student relationship because Dennis is a chess instructor. However, actually, they met in a tournament. They've played 4 rated games, but they both think these are their first Blitz games ever, and they're Blitz rated, USCF. So they're tied so far, lifetime score. Very dubious decision for Dennis to put this much on the line with not a lot to gain, seemingly, other than pride. We'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, and you said there are $40 on stake, but there's much more.
No, $36.
36 plus 4 in lottery, right?
Yes, plus the Powerball. So you could walk away with $300 million.
That's what I mean, yeah? I would love to see Danny's face if this happens, yeah? If he just loses like $3 million or whatever.
Yeah, Dennis would say he wouldn't be upset, but I think he would never sleep again.
But, okay, Black has taken this bishop on F3, so I think I'm starting to like a little bit more Black's position. The only problem is this bishop on C8, he should really do something about it. For example, bishop D7 looks pretty natural. He goes Rook D8, Rook D1, and for example now taking on D4 and then bishop D7. But it's urgent, you've got to do something about this guy on C8. There could be some Queen G3 also attacking the Rook on B8. So Bishop D7. Finally, he brings out this guy from C8. And if the bishop lands on C6, I would even prefer Black's position. This bishop would be doing a fantastic job on this diagonal. Knight E4. Let's see what happens now. I guess Knight takes E4. It's possible. And after queen takes bishop c6, black has nothing to worry about. The position is around equal, but you know, everything can happen. This is a blitz game, no increment, no delay. If this would be a Carlsen versus Nakamura game, I would say it's a dead draw. But
This is not Carlsen.
yeah, that's what I mean.
No.
This is Dennis versus Jacob. And yeah, still a lot of pieces in the board, so everything can happen. I guess now you gotta take on d8, everything, and then queen d4, something like that. And then we reach this endgame, knight versus bishop, where you should go f3, e4 in order to do something against this c6 bishop. Let's see, only 2 minutes. Jacobs is thinking too much. That could be problematic in the final phase of the game. So you're gonna move the queen, buddy. Let's say maybe also queen d3 works. Maybe queen d3 works as well. But I don't see any difference, so do something. 130, he takes everything. Rook takes d8. Now you're gonna take probably queen d4. This is the line that we were saying before. Don't blunder checkmate. Don't play queen h4. Don't do that. Queen d4, right. Protecting the d1 square. And queen takes. I see Dennis with a lot of confidence.
I don't know if that looks like confidence to me. I'm seeing he's shaking his head here. I'm
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
on my monitor.
Now, at the end game, you should bring the king to the center. It's a really important piece. Don't do that in the middle game, of course, because there are a lot of heavy pieces. But in the end game, the king is a really important piece. So a6 covering the b5 square, and now Dennis wants to bring the king to d6. So I would say black is a little bit better because you have got the bishop, and there are pawns in both flanks. So e5. Now this knight has
Dennis
to go back.
just dropped a piece. Okay,
Yeah.
no, he recovered it quite
Some
quickly.
dirty tricks from Dennis. Knight b3, intended to jump to c5. So king d6 is the most natural move here. Bishop b5. So he checks in case that is checkmate, but it's not.
Big time deficit here for Jacob Sanders as white. Only 45 seconds left.
And now king e4, active king, attacking the e5 pawn. I would play king d6, but he goes for f6. Now, maybe you could try to go to f5 and then g6. Black is threatened to play bishop c6 and take the g2 pawn. That's why white played f3. Now there's no bishop c6. 2 minutes for Dennis. Just play king d6, then bishop d6. Sorry, bishop c6. Then try to play f5. And black could be a bit better. King d6. Covering c5, and look at that knight on b3, is doing basically nothing. So bishop c6 followed by king d5 could be an interesting variation for black, centralizing the king. Bishop d7, now knight c4, g4. Wow. The thing is, you can't move now the knight from d2, because if you do that, there's bishop c6 and the pawn on f3 is hanging. So he goes g6, he wants to play f5, and kick this king from there. Very interesting. 20 seconds, you gotta move something. King d3 is not going to be enough with 18 seconds, I would say.
Yes, I'm telling you, this is why I do not like this no delay, no increment. Jacob is lost. There's nothing he can do. The game is over.
Yeah, exactly. With 13 seconds, it's just impossible to play, yeah? F5. Maybe we'll see a miracle here. Knight c4. Takes. The game is draw, probably, but
There's just no pre-moves over the board. This is going to be lost on the clock, unfortunately.
yeah, play b3, e4 check. Could be played 6 seconds. And yeah, Dennis is going to win this game. 3 seconds. F takes. King e2. And yeah, he won on time. 1-1, Ben.
All right. Well, hey, we're going the distance.
Well, we're bad. It doesn't.
Yeah, it
first,
doesn't matter.
First move advantage doesn't matter with us. Okay.
Well, Dennis is being so humble. You know, these are some of the best USCF level players I've ever seen in my life. They really shouldn't sell themselves short. And this match, I'm sure, I can't see the numbers right now, but I'm sure just thousands of people are watching us right
Yeah.
now on YouTube.
And as you can see, Jacob is sponsored by Adidas, you know, so
Well,
it's actually a big thing.
All right. The match is tied 1-1.
Thank you, Mike Comer.
Ready?
Good luck.
Mike doing a fantastic job there,
Okay, Jacob.
not allowing any dirty tricks.
Okay, and we are off. Game 3. The Blitz Bounty. Remember, Dennis LaRue has nothing to gain but pride, but he has everything to lose. Jacob Sanders, the young up-and-comer, 15 years old, going after that $36, the prize for an average Friday action quads here at the St. Louis Chess Club, and the very, very awesome Powerball ticket. I mean, it's awesome because of the potential that it carries. You could win millions of dollars or nothing, but you know it's going to be a big prize for him if he's able to win.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like Danny has prepared deeply the London system. It didn't look like that like in the previous game when he blundered the exchange in 15 moves, but still he's trying. He's going to play h3 to put this bishop on h2. Black is playing some sort of King's Indian. Now he wants to break on e5, let's say after knight d7, but then this bishop on f5 could be in danger after
Well,
some g4 move.
I do know that Dennis does favor the London system. Look how happy he is right now. The London system for Dennis works for him, but also something you need to know about Dennis is I understand he has a top secret training technique.
Wow.
And he will not tell us what it is. We've really been digging for it, but this is, he says, I'm using it to prepare for this match against Jacob, and it's going to lead me to victory. He says he invented it, if you can believe that.
Did he hire a second for this tournament?
No, I don't think he has a second for this tournament, but I think someone is hiring him for an upcoming
Okay.
match as a second. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we'll be seeing that training technique for the player down the line.
And we saw Jacob retreating his bishop to c8 because he wanted to go e5. And with the bishop on f5, could be in trouble, right, after these g4 moves. So that's why he went back to c8. Not a very natural move, but he managed to break on e5 now. And Dennis is thinking, if taking on e5 off, maybe going back to h2. But now he blundered the pawn on e4. As you can see, he takes e4, and Dennis looks really upset now after c takes d4, knight takes e4, and Jacob's a pawn up in this position.
Just really early on, you know, and now you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer for 7 more minutes, potentially.
But then he's a tough guy. Yeah, he fights a lot, as we saw in the first game. Even though he ended up losing, he put a lot of resistance material down. So queen c2, and now after knight takes d2, he would have to take on d2 with the queen, since the bishop on e2 is hanging. So also, for example, knight g3 could be a really interesting move here, right? After bishop takes g3, rook takes c2, winning the bishop pair. But he went for the most natural continuation, knight takes e2, queen takes e2. I guess now you got to develop the bishop from c8, for example, something like knight f6, covering the e4 and d5 square in order to develop the c8 bishop, for example, knight f6 followed by bishop e6 or bishop f5 looks completely natural to me.
We want to thank you all for joining us on YouTube and Twitch. It's a simulcast. Ben Simon here with the one and only Grandmaster Pepe Cuenca, in English if you can believe it, for this Blitz Bounty Live. It's Dennis LaRue versus Jacob Sanders. Best of 4 games, game in 5, no delay, no increment. The score is 1-1. This is game number 3.
And I don't like this d5 move because now the h2 bishop is back to life. Because now you can see there's a really beautiful diagonal for this bishop. The pawn on d6 and c7, they were doing a fantastic job. But okay, still black is much better, of course, because you're a pawn up, a healthy pawn up, knight f6. Now you want to jump to the e4 square, and finally, after developing the c8 bishop, black would be in a very good shape. So what is Dennis doing now? Rook takes e8 followed by rook e1. He wants some control of the e file. Knight e8. This knight on d6 also perfectly placed. Not only trying to go to e4, but also c4 could be at some point. Or also even f5, putting more pressure on the d4 pawn. So this time, no time trouble for Jacob. He's playing faster. That's really important. Now bishop d6 followed by rook e8. Could be really, really interesting for white here in this position. Background problems. Bishop d6, followed by rook e8. He didn't go for that. Queen f4. And now after knight f5 or knight e4, I think black is in good shape. But bishop d6 was a really interesting move. Maybe Dennis didn't see it. And Dennis could put some pressure on this e4 knight by playing bishop d3. The bishop on f1 is doing nothing. Come on, Dennis. Bring this bishop back to life. Is there a song that says something like this? Bring me back to life or something?
Are you thinking about voodoo or something?
I don't know. Some rock group or...
Evanescence.
Maybe not.
You're thinking of Evanescence.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of
Evanescence.
voodoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That song.
Yours is less harmful.
From Finland, I guess. So, queen f6, f7 was attacked. And now, what are we going to do here? For example, white could take, or white could even play f3. White could take on f6 and then play f3, followed by knight g4. And then, again, you could bring the rook to e8. 1 minute, 40 seconds for Dennis. Bishop d3, pressure on the e4 knight. Let's say queen f4, bishop f4, and for example, you could play knight f6. Jacob is not developing the c8 bishop, which I don't like. If you manage to do that, you are much better. But if you don't do that, there could be background problems. Mike is too serious there, controlling everything.
There you see. Well, you know, you've got to have a good arbiter.
Yeah.
And an international, he's an international arbiter.
Okay.
He's at the top of the food chain. For a match like this, with no delay or no increment, I mean, we might see a fist fight over the board, right? You got to get security in here.
Exactly. That's why in tournaments we play with increment, but here you like tough fights.
This is what they play out in the streets.
Yeah, in the hood.
Right outside the chess club.
Yeah.
This is what they play. You try to play increment here, people are like, what? What are you talking about? I don't want to play increment. 5 minutes. Take it or leave it.
Again, Jacob in time trouble. Knight f6, pretty solid move. Controlling e8. Now finally, I hope he goes for bishop e6. f3, controlling e4. Knight d7 again. I don't like these kind of moves. There's no control on e8. For example, knight f3 and then, there's no knight f3. There's a pawn on f3 already. Then he's played f3. So the thing is now you can't retreat to g4 because d4 is hanging. So Jacob is going to exchange everything and finally bring the bishop out. I hope so. Bishop e6.
Dennis looks distressed right now. Dennis just looks straight up distressed.
King f2. Bringing the king to the center. And 1 minute for each player here. Let's say bishop e5 and then king g7 followed by king f6, rook e8, bishop d7. You trade a pair of rooks. Ooh, f6. Bishop h2. Now the bishop on e6 is hanging. King f7. Black could try to play f5, but then bishop e5 again. And nothing happens with the d4 pawn. Bishop d6 by Dennis, and Jacob is thinking too much. He should hurry up. f5, bishop e5 by Dennis probably. Come on, Dennis, bishop e5. That's right. Now be careful, Jacob, because white is threatening to take on g7. That's why he played rook e8, bishop takes, king takes. And even though black's a pawn up, there are some weaknesses on the dark squares, as you can see. And 40 seconds for Dennis. Rook e5, bishop d7. You can take everything and then play f4 and a5, and it would be extremely hard for white to make any progress in this position. So let's see what Dennis does. f4, controlling e5, b5. I don't like that move at all because now black could actually break with c5 after some king d6. Bishop takes b5, 2 versus 1 on the queen side. So now black's much better. Bishop e6 followed by bishop d7. Targeting the a4 pawn. You gotta defend that pawn on a4. He just blunders the pawn. 20 seconds for Dennis. And now Bishop e2, b5 is going to run now. b5, b4, b3, g4, trying to create some contemplate, but Jacob is not allowing anything. Takes on f5, bishop takes b5, bishop takes b5, a5 could be the move. 14 seconds, 5 seconds, bishop d7. Now you go a4, a3. Go, go, run, run, run. Bishop c4 just wins. Black is winning. And Dennis lost this game.
Oh, man. 2-1 for Jacob Sanders. Now, remember, the only way...
So next game decides the match, right?
Well, that's not...
Well, you have to win to advance to Armageddon.
I have to win. Right.
That's exactly right. Thank you, Mike Comer. To retain his plunder, Dennis LaRue must win this game and force a 5-minute versus 4-minute Blitz Armageddon. And hey, there's no increment or delay in that either. So this is going to be very exciting. We are here, guys. We're at game number 4. This is it. This is what it's all about. Can Jacob put Dennis away?
Exactly.
Dennis,
Okay.
start the clock.
Good luck.
And for those who don't know, an Armageddon game means that white is forced to win.
Yes, black has draw odds. If the game goes to a draw, then black gets the nod as if black won in the first place. The offset there is that white has 5 minutes and black has 4 minutes. So mathematicians, I guess, would say it equals out when you got to have a winner.
And we see the same opening again. This Queen's Gambit, bishop g3 instead of bishop takes e7. The previous game went pretty well for Dennis. So now bishop g3, very interesting move. This diagonal is pretty interesting for the white's bishop, and knight f6. Maybe intending to go knight h5 at some point, trying to grab the bishop pair. For example, knight takes e3 followed by knight h5 could be interesting, since after bishop e5, black could just go something like f6. C takes d4, and now the point is, if you take with the knight, then knight takes c3 and black's better because of the pawn structure. So that's why he took first on d5, knight takes d4. And now position looks, again, balanced. Still I prefer white. For example, bishop f3, and look at those two bishops doing a fantastic job on these two diagonals. Bishop d7. And the point is, you can't go to c6 because knight takes c6. And white would grab the bishop pair and a better structure. Also, white has the option of going e4 in these positions, kicking this knight from d5, and black has the option of going e5. Rook c8, 4 minutes per player, and knight f6. Bishop f3. Now Dennis has to do something about the b7 pawn. Again, queen b6 looks like the most natural move, protecting b7, connecting the rooks, preparing the f8 rook to join the party. There is a salsa party on the d5. And bishop c6, I don't like that move. Okay, white can't take with the knight on c6 because of queen takes e2. But after bishop c6, I guess white is much better because you are forcing black to take with the pawn. Or wait, maybe after bishop c6, black could take with the rook, and you can't still take the rook on c6 because of queen takes d2, right? So bishop c6, after all, maybe a good move by Dennis LaRue. Is LaRue? How you pronounce his surname? It's a pretty tough surname for a Spanish guy.
Well, Pepe, I always thought that it was LaRue.
LaRue,
It's
okay.
awfully French of you.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I should be able to pronounce it in a better way, right? But,
Yeah.
you know, that's me.
Now, I always ask, how do you actually pronounce your name? I ask almost everybody that. Because, you have like the American way, and then you have like the real way, right?
Okay.
If I can say it the real way, I want to say the name the real way.
Okay, say it.
So what's your name?
Pepe Cuenca.
Oh, lovely. Well, I got it right. How about that? Guys, this is it. This is the final game. Jacob, with just a draw, can put Dennis LaRue away in this Blitz game.
Yeah, 94. Wow. 94. Some tactics going on. So knight takes c6. I guess knight takes c6. What happens with this move? Knight takes c6. knight takes d2, knight takes d8, and knight f3 check, and nothing happens for black here. So you guys can follow knight c6, knight takes d2, knight takes d8, knight f3, g takes f3, and rook takes d8, and nothing happens. So I guess if white takes on e4, then black's better, because Dennis has the bishop pair. As you can see, this bishop is doing a fantastic job on e4. After f3, I guess you would have to change diagonal and go to h7, since on c6 it can be captured by the d4 knight. Rook a to c1, and now the first move that comes to my mind is queen b6. Again, connecting the rooks. Dennis again in good shape, because got 1 minute up. Bishop f6. Okay, activating this bishop to rook c8, queen c8, and maybe something like queen b4 could be interesting. So looking with x-rays to this e4 bishop, right? Queen b4, now there could be some knight takes e8 at this point, because the bishop on e4 is unprotected.
Dennis is shaking his head. Why is he shaking his head?
Nakamura style. So takes on c1, and I guess now bishop takes d4 would be interesting, but he goes bishop e7. He wants more. He needs more than a draw, of course. Bishop takes e4, and then opposite color bishops. That's good for Jacob, so that's why he has to keep some pieces in the board to trick Jacob, and he's doing pretty well, because now Jacob has only 1.5 minutes versus almost 3 minutes for Dennis. So Jacob, where are you going with your queen? Maybe to a4, maybe to e1, to d2, c3. A lot of options going on. Sorry, a lot of options available. Queen c4. And I guess he wants to go to c7 now. Bishop d4, sorry, bishop d5, queen c7. You can take on c7, or I guess you shouldn't take on c7, because the rook would be extremely active on the 7th rank. He's gonna take that, but I guess white is a little bit better now. Bishop f6, for example, and if I could play some e4, but it's not possible because the knight on d4 is hanging, so maybe bishop d6. But then rook d8, nothing happens for black. Rook d8. He wants to go bishop e7 and win the bishop pair back. So bishop e7, black's first to take on e7, rook takes e7. And I guess white is a little bit better because of the rook on the 7th rank. I would have preferred to go rook e8 to stop bishop e7. And now bishop e7, I guess, is a good move, but 40 seconds for Jacob. Ben.
We might be seeing the 4th consecutive game where black wins. This has been all black this entire match.
Exactly. a6, 35 seconds for Jacob. Bishop b6. No threats, because the rook on d8 is protected, so there's no rook f7 or something like that. Would be just a blunder. It's not easy to make a move with the black pieces. Maybe e5 at some point. e5 would be really interesting, since white could have a lot of background problems. He's got to go to d8. And be careful, Dennis, because there could be a triple repetition. f3, Jacob is going for the win. Now e5 again looks to me pretty reasonable. e5 followed by e4 maybe. 1.5 minutes for Dennis. He's doing what he hasn't got to do. Play slowly. I think he just plays fast. He will just win this game. But
is there anything to worry about now for Dennis anymore?
I guess he's worried about some e4 move, because the bishop hasn't got too many squares. You can't go to c4 because the b7 pawn is hanging. You can't go to c6 because the knight would just capture that bishop. So he decided to take on d4, the safest option. This is probably a draw, but 26 seconds for Jacob. Bishop c6. It's gonna go e4 and king e3, centralizing the king. Bishop b6. Then it's good. You gotta move fast. King f8, e4. Rookies don't play rook e7 because there is bishop c5. Okay, he didn't blow the rook f7 check. Now black has to take that rook really fast. Bishop d8. White's a pawn up, but only 19 seconds in the clock. b5, 34 seconds. Bishop b7, b4. 30 seconds for Dennis. h5. All the pawns in the light squares, so white can't take them. Bishop h2, king d7, king e3, king c6. Where is Dennis going? He can't go anywhere with that king. Bishop e5. He wants to go a5. Takes, and now the king is going to a4, but then still he can never take that pawn on a3. Maybe just king b3 or something like that. Jacob is completely winning in this position. Takes on e6. 4 pawns versus 2, but only 5 seconds. Bishop b7, takes on g6. Dennis, no, he got crazy. He took the pawn on e4, e5. 3 seconds only for Jacob. King d3, e7. You gotta move fast, Dennis. 2 seconds, move. Takes. If Jacob takes the pawn, would be a draw. He would be winning, but now he lost some time. Incredible. Only one more move to make a draw and win the match, Ben.
All right.
I just would have taken
Armageddon.
these two.
Armageddon.
Overtime, yep.
Overtime. I shouldn't have lost. Dang.
Hey, well, we thought that it could happen. We thought that it could happen, and it is. We're going to Armageddon. Both. I want to hear what these players are saying.
Dang.
Dennis is just giggly.
We're giving the viewers a show.
Giving them a
Hopefully
show.
they're enjoying. They're enjoying and cringing all at once. Okay.
A little bit of both.
All right.
Now we've got to draw.
I don't have no idea how we decide who gets what in the draws. You're in the international arbiter. You got this?
I got it.
All right. You got it.
Now, Mike Cummers always got it. Now,
Good games, Jacob. Good games. Good
yes.
luck.
I should have definitely taken those pawns.
So who's taking white now?
well, we're about to find out. Mike Cummers going to make a draw.
Oh.
They're going to
For
draw
some
lots,
reason,
so
I
to
thought I had a
speak.
mate. I probably did have a mate and I missed it. Oh, he's black. Oof.
No. We will do the drawing of the lots again. So the way the Armageddon works, white gets 5 minutes and must win the game to win the match. Black will receive 4 minutes, and all he needs to do to clinch the match is either draw or win. This is not USCF rated, and if you illegally do the pawn promotion, you lose.
Okay.
All right?
And drawing of the lots.
Drawing of the lots. Drawing of the lots.
Pepe, if you had your choice,
Dennis LaRue, you have the honor. Would you like what's in my right hand or
I'm going to go with the right hand.
right hand? White pieces.
All right, let's do this.
all right. Pepe, if you got your choice, would you take the draw odds in black or would you take
Jacob,
white?
I mean, we have
Exact
just
same
seen
position
4
he was
wins
last
for the
time.
black
All he needs
pieces,
is a
yeah? So I
draw
guess
to
they
clinch
would
the
love
match.
to have
Dennis
the
must
black
win.
pieces. So.
Good luck.
Let's make sure
Good to go.
That they're ready when they're ready. Okay.
we are
Ooh.
ready.
You see
So
Dennis
after
yawn
the
there?
hands,
Uh-oh.
I will start the clock.
Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, last game, guys. E4, another London system. So, but Jacob is changing. So now he's playing faster, but then they got only 4 minutes, as you can see. Jacob only 4 minutes. Takes on g6, h takes c6, knight b to d2, knight b to d7, c3, e6. So queen e2, and now probably bishop e7 in order to go short castling here in this position. Knight b6, I don't like that move. The knight is going basically nowhere from there. So you can't jump to c4. You are not reinforcing the c5 break. So it's not a move that I would like to do here. But okay. It seemed like Dennis is not sure about what to do. h3, bishop d6. That was his idea, developing the piece to d6 in order to fight for the central square e5. Now Dennis plays knight e5 in order to avoid the exchange of the dark square bishops.
Let's see if Dennis can do something here with white. I know it's been all black all the entire match, 0-1 all the way through. But Dennis has a very special friend watching this event, Caleb Denby, one of the personalities of the St. Louis Chess Club YouTube channel and close friend of Dennis LaRue and confidant. Caleb Denby is playing in the match in a couple of months, April 12th to be specific. We're calling it All In, and you're hearing it here first. Dennis LaRue is going to be seconding Caleb Denby in a match against Jonathan Schrantz. Now, I know that this is not going to be very impressive to Caleb if Dennis cannot pull through this victory. I don't think it's going to hurt their relationship long term, but it's also an interesting story to be looking at this. Caleb, how you doing if you're watching? And thanks for watching us here on YouTube and on Twitch. Ben Simon here with Grandmaster Pepe Cuenca.
Yeah, I got to say that I have played against both Caleb and Jonathan. They're really strong. They said that they're 2,000 rated or something, but I find them pretty stronger.
Yeah, Jonathan made his name with the famous Chess Openings Explained YouTube series.
Yes,
He was booked
I've
up
seen
for
those videos.
hours and hours and just give these great lectures.
And look at that knight on e4. For example, after something like b4, not now because c3 is hanging, but there could be a black like queen d3, b4, and then try to trap that knight by playing f3 at some point. Okay, now the b5 square is unprotected, but he goes queen b5. I would have preferred to go knight b5 in order to go f3 and knight to d6 check. Actually, after knight b5 followed by f3, I think white would be much better. Now, I like black's position, I guess. Queen takes e7, only move, because you can retreat your knight. The queen is hanging. Queen takes e7, king takes e7, and then you're going to move your knight. Probably I will go king c6 to reinforce the center with my king, and then bring the rooks to the center. Knight f3 by Dennis. He's forced to win this game. Remember that, guys. f6. f6. Probably he wants to go some g5. But now c4 could be very, very strong in this position. I guess black's only move would be king c6. Otherwise, the pawn on d5 would be just hanging. So king c6, only move. C takes d, e takes d, and now probably rook c1, threatening some sort of a lot of ideas. For example, knight d4 check could be an idea in this position. Also rook f to d1, and there's a lot of pressure on those central pawns. Also b4 could be an idea in these positions to gain the d4 square.
Well, and now also look at this. The white 1 minute advantage has completely evaporated, which is great news for black given the results in this match so
and I
far.
think he just blundered because after king d7, two pieces are attacked, right? The bishop on f4 and the knight on d4. I think knight d4 is a bad move. King d7, and after e6, just king e8, but he goes king b6. I think it still wins. Maybe he could try to go knight f5 now. Knight f5 only move. That's why, but then he can take that knight, and Jacob is winning in this position.
Oh, and Dennis knows it. Oh, he can kiss that $36 and Powerball ticket goodbye.
You never know in chess. But he's winning. Terrible blunder, knight d4 check. And now f3 maybe. Well, this knight is almost trapped. For example, rook f d1 could be a move trying to trap this knight, but then he's got to jump to d2, and then probably this knight is going to c4, and nothing happens for black here. Rook f d1, knight c4, for example, and then the knight goes to a5 and c6, putting a lot of pressure on the d4 pawn. b3 is going to be played knight a5 or knight e3. Now rook e1 could be the move. Rook c8, black is much, much better. Now he also got the c file. This rook is coming to c2 at some point. And now after knight f5, a lot of troubles for the d4 pawn. Let's say only move rook d1 now to protect the d4, but then there's a huge boom. Knight takes d4. If rook d1, now you can't play Knight takes d4 because the rook on c8 is hanging, but bishop a3 would be a really strong move, forcing rook d1, and then boom, knight takes d4, and after rook takes d4, bishop c5 would be winning. He didn't see that. And bishop f6, probably Dennis is trying to bring the king. He can never go to e2 because there is knight takes d4 check, so don't go to e2, Dennis. Maybe to g3 and then g4, try to collect some pawns. King a6 was not a very good move. f4, trying to create a pass pawn, 1 minute per player. Takes. Come on, Dennis, what are you waiting? Why you don't take that pawn? Take it. g4, brilliant. He wants to go to f3 with the king. Now he can't take the pawn on d4 because the rook on c8 is protected. And now he's going to run with the h pawn. He gotta run to the h pawn, h5, g5, but now black can stop pretty easily that pawn with knight a6, covering g7, king d7, g6, and white has to resign. a3, b5, and king e2.
I don't think he's going to resign, Pepe. I don't think he's going to resign.
You got to fight until the end. King f5 is going to take that g pawn, and he's smelling the 40 bucks. He can smell
36.
36 plus $3 million. Knight d4, illegal move. They didn't see the illegal move. Knight e2, sorry, king e2 takes. The knight is going back to c2. And actually, once you take the pawn on b4, white can resign because you can only get a throw.
Yeah, it sounds like Dennis is doing all but resigning with those sounds he's making.
Now, knight c6, knight takes b4.
There it is.
Oh, no.
He's fake out. No, he's not resigning. He's not resigning. I thought he was resigning.
Making me work for it?
I'm going to make you work for it. Okay, I'll resign it. Good game.
All right, good game.
And
There it
Jacob
is.
wins
All
the
right.
match.
Well, that was something else, guys.
Pawn promotion would have lost them the game, though. So.
Well, we're going to talk to the
waited.
players.
Could've
We're going
got
to take a
the
short
promotion.
break. And when we come back, we are going to talk to the
Well,
players
hopefully they enjoyed that.
about
Yeah,
their
amazing
experience
games, amazing
and
games.
with our
that's
Blitz bounty winner.
Welcome to the chess capital of the United States. The St. Louis Chess Campus, in the heart of the vibrant Central West End, has established itself as a premier global destination for chess and is comprised of two unique nonprofit institutions. The Chess Club and Scholastic Center of St. Louis is recognized as the top chess facility in the world and plays host to all major tournaments, including the U.S. Chess Championships and the Sinkfield Cup, one of the strongest chess tournaments globally. Tournaments are broadcast online to more than 150 countries, led by an expert commentary team of grandmasters. The Chess Club is an educational organization committed to promoting the game of chess, with a specific focus on bringing the benefits of chess to children throughout the St. Louis area. Research shows children who play chess exhibit improved analytical skills and increased confidence. The Chess Club is highly engaged with the local community, bringing scholastic chess programs to more than 100 schools, providing hundreds of classes each week. Directly across the street from the Chess Club is the World Chess Hall of Fame. This one-of-a-kind cultural institution invites visitors to experience chess in imaginative ways and is home to the U.S. and World Chess Halls of Fame. Cutting-edge exhibitions feature rare, historic chess artifacts paired with world-class art. Innovative programming explores the intersection of chess, art, and culture. Visitors can enjoy interactive programs designed around the exhibitions and monthly music in the galleries. The World Chess Hall of Fame is nothing you expect and everything you love. 3 different galleries and a premier gift shop highlight the culture, history, and creativity behind the game. Come visit, play chess, leave enriched. To learn more about the St. Louis Chess Campus, visit stlchesscampus.org.
Finale of Blitz Bounty Live for the very first time here on the St. Louis Chess Club YouTube channel. Man, we've had a real blast tonight. Ben Simon, along with Grandmaster Pepe Cuenca, we just really had a good time. Thank you to Mike Kummer, the one person who didn't have a good time, still seated at his desk. We'll have to get a word with him. Actually, Dennis, come on up here. And I'm here with the winner, but we got to get the person who has the bounty. Here, we got to grab the bounty here, Dennis. This has got to be the handoff. It's tradition now, sportsmanship and all that. So, Dennis, what do you have to say for this match to your opponent, Jacob?
Well played, Jacob.
Thank you. You did well too.
All right, so come on in so we can see this, the handoff. All right, let's make it official.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Spectacular. Jacob, how does it feel to come in and beat the man in his own house?
It feels pretty good. I mean, I did a lot of preparation for this. I played nonstop Blitz for, I'd say, about 2 to 3 weeks ever since hearing about this. And I would like to thank my good friend Eric Tkachenko for preparing me for this.
He's a tough guy. I played Eric Tkachenko many times. So you got the Powerball, which you can't actually redeem since you're 15, but I'm sure your parents can cut you a deal. What are you going to do with the $36?
Food.
We play to eat here at the Chess Club. Well, this has been just a really great night. Jacob, congratulations once more. Anything else you want to say?
I'd like to say that I had a really good time, and I love this series.
Thank you for joining us, Jacob.
Oh,
I hate you, but thank you.
Hey, before we sign off, though, we have some business to tend to. Dennis, come on in, because we have some big events coming up.
Let's hear
We
it.
were talking in the room. Danny, can you see both of us right now? You got to see both of us. Okay. So here's what we have coming up. So this Saturday, we have a tournament called the Spring Chess Classic. And we're going to be looking at some really fine 2,500 level, 2,600 level players. And we're going to have live commentary for 9 days straight here on the Chess Club YouTube channel. You should definitely check it out at uschesschamps.com. But a little bit further down the line, we have something we're doing for the very first time, and we're going to call it All In. And you are a part of it.
I worked with Caleb a little bit. Yeah, I worked with Caleb Denby. Yes.
We were talking about Caleb Denby, and I'm sure he was watching this match here tonight. Caleb Denby will be taking on Jonathan Schrantz in a battle of two of the most prominent YouTube channel personalities in the 7-year history of this great media outlet. And we don't know if Jonathan has an extra, or a second rather, but we know that Caleb does. And we know that you have a technique, and I know I've been trying to get it out of you, and you haven't been telling me anything.
Yeah, you'll have to wait.
You're not going to tell me anything about the training technique?
No.
Oh. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Don't worry, we'll get it out of him. That is going to be on April 12th, so a little bit of a ways away. I know that our friend Danny Machuca is working on some videos to hype this event up, because it's really going to be an event like you've never seen before. The strongest expert-level matchup in the St. Louis Chess Club streaming history. So, Dennis, you're a great sportsman. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks to Mike and everybody and you guys for putting it on.
Mike Cummer, thank you very much for TDing. I know with gaming 5 with no delay, no increment, it can get kind of messy sometimes. So that's all for this time. Pepe, you want to come in here and sign out with me? We're going to draw this out as long as possible to make everyone stay up late. What do you think of today's match?
It was very exciting. It was very exciting with a lot of time travel. Really had a great time. Yeah, hope to do it again with you guys.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a great time. Thanks for joining us and staying up late wherever you are. And until next time, this is Grandmaster Pepe Cuenca and Ben Simon saying so long from the Show Me State.